You know, fun fact, I used to experience a lot of voltage as a kid when I would lick a 9-volt battery. Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd here with Vicious RV, and that intro should explain and answer a lot of questions that you may have had about me over the years. So as promised, giving you some expanded coverage and all kinds of new, crazy, fun, different things today, taking a look at a voltage fifth wheel toy hauler by Dutchmen. And true to form, instead of dipping my toes in the pond, I dove in head first with one of the biggest models that they make here, the 4225. It has a 13-foot garage, but the thing is, this doesn't strike me as a toy hauler first. This doesn't read to me as a toy hauler. When I step inside this thing, what I love about this one is that it has just a gorgeous, like, luxury fifth wheel living room, awesome rear kitchen, a big king bedroom. It just happens to also have a 13-foot garage on the back of it. So think of it like a mobile home with an attached garage that is detached from the ground. That's the best explanation I can give this thing. So there's this is basically like a cousin to something like a Fusion or a Raptor. Shares a lot of DNA, but they put their own little influences into it right here. Couple little things I'm going to point out as we go. Now, of course, all the big things like 6-point hydraulic leveling is there. The 5500 Awning generator that can run the entire RV anywhere you park it if you want. But this also from the factory has a 45,000 BTU air conditioning system. You want to park in some screaming hot sunshine, you can. And that's the thing. I could see this one working for people who have no interest in hauling toys. I could see this as somebody looking for, like, I'm looking to use an RV like a house because the housing market has priced me out. I could see something like this working with that room on the back. It could be a bunk room, a craft room, a flex room. Obviously, you can load stuff into it. 13-foot garage could handle a big side-by-side. You could certainly tow and go it. It's got the suspension and everything to do that. I could see this working for a number of different people. I'm really excited to see what you think about this one because it caught my attention. The moment I stepped inside, I went, whoa. Now, usually with fifth wheel toy haulers, any toy hauler, the first thing that I start to focus on is the garage, and we're going to get back there. But I feel like if you've seen a 13-foot garage in a big fifth wheel toy hauler, you've kind of got the general idea. It was this living room and this kitchen that just straight stopped me in my tracks. Because the thing is, normally, the number one complaint I hear with a lot of people is, man, I really like the flexibility of that rear room. I like how it could be a craft room or a garage or a laundry room or a bunkhouse even, it can do so many things, but you give up so much living space. This one does not. This one you do not sacrifice, I feel, in living space. The offset is that this thing it's a behemoth. It's the USS Voltage. It's about as long as an aircraft carrier. And at 16,000 pounds, frankly, I think we're sadly in the discussion of dually territory, kind of minimum on one of these. So sort of keep that in mind. She is a big, hefty, and that's 16,000 pounds before cargo. So you got to make sure you're looking at the total max weight on this thing. But I turned left and I went, oh my gosh, this is a fully equipped, fully functional rear kitchen that just happens to have an attached garage on the back. It's a fully featured luxury fifth wheel that is just virtually unparalleled, essentially, in its flexibility. I mean, look at all this stuff. First of all, notice that all of the slides in this are carpetless, and they are floor matching. That is my nerd preferred way of seeing things done. We're looking at an 18 cubic foot gas electric two-way fridge right there that feels very appropriate for a toy hauler that could spend some extended time off grid. There is a swaption though to a residential refrigerator, so kind of keep that in mind. Now, as we kind of peeked in our floor plan into flash footage, up there in the loft, that's surprisingly not bad. The loft is actually slightly larger than that mattress. And the switch for that, the light switch for that loft, if you're really tall, like if you're 6'3" or so, like I can stand on my tiptoes and I can reach that thing. If you're a little bit shorter, you're definitely going to want to use the ladder, which is currently stored on top of the Happy Jack Power bed lift system. So someone's going to ask, what, no ladder? No, it absolutely has a ladder. I just did pull it out to display it. That was a convection microwave, like the big high-dollar luxury fifth wheels. You see that same big, beautiful 4-burner Insignia stove with a serious oven that can actually really do a heck of a job feeding folks. Not to mention the handy little cookies and biscuits bacon tray storage place that you have right down below it. And this is one of those kitchens, if you look, it's got great counter space. I'm tripping over the couch behind me like a dingbat. It's not easy walking backwards when you're not looking that way, folks. I'm telling you, that's why I'm always banged up. But there's serious prep space here, serious kitchen space. You've seen good storage. We're about to see a whole lot more. But, toy hauler kitchens, frankly, for the most part, they kind of suck. These U-shaped kitchens, they're not large in terms of square foot of space, but they're brilliant in their functionality. Now, you look at this, though, and you're saying, yeah, but I'm not seeing outlets. What gives, dude? There are some outlets. These right over here, because that cabinet kind of hangs down, I don't think that's up too high, and you see a little sticker half peeling off of it. That is just a little thing to tell you, hey, by the way, it's inverter prepped up here. And then you do have a set of outlets up there above the sink. Now, the sink is a big farm sink. It's got dual roll-away dish drying rack kind of things. Look at that little accent lighting under the countertop. You know what? I'm not going to lie. I'm a sucker for accent lighting. I'm probably one of the people that is attracted to it like a moth to flame. Although I do appreciate that they're not using the Coors Light Blue Jedi lightsaber lighting in this one. Thank you, by the way, Dutchmen.
And the hits just keep on coming here at K1025.
I mean, look at the drawerage galorage that you have going on here. But I try to be fair. I've been like super all about this thing so far. All right, to be fair, there is storage under this whole big elevated serving bar, prep station right here. But there's not a real easy way to get to it. And something that I checked, I kind of slid this down. Let me see if I can turn on my little camera light here so you can see. It is paneled off. So you might actually want to create some sort of access panel over there in case something shifts and you can't reach it. So the kitchen, I think, is pretty darn amazing with that, one little hiccup. But again, toy hauler living rooms. One of the biggest complaints people have about toy haulers is you give up so much of your living space because of the garage. And again, as I said, this thing is a battleship in size. But as a result, you do not sacrifice living space on this one. This is really interesting, though. I need your feedback on this. It is a triple heat massage theater seat. Usually, when I see opposing sofas and then a theater seat right here directly across from an easy viewing entertainment center, which obviously can pivot around to be able to face different sofa stations, however you want to do this thing. Usually I see like hide-a-beds or something. I don't know that this is wrong. I don't know that it's right. I'm not used to seeing this, and I'd love some input on that. I don't care that that's not a hide-a-bed because we have the double queen beds in the garage plus the loft. This thing can easily sleep 6-7 adults as it is. My buddy Larry could crash himself on there when his woman done kicked him out or something like that. In case you're wondering, like, what is this wire? What is this remote? That is a remote control for the subwoofer, basically. So if you want to have a little bit of, butt vibrations, you can. Also, you might notice these are all, I guess not theater seats in a sense, but love seats. They are all cuddle compliant in case the two of you do, like to enjoy one another's presence and company. Just, and sometimes you have windows on one side or the other. This has windows everywhere. They all have blackout night roller shades. This thing, the kitchen and the living room on this, it just absolutely knocked my socks off. And let me move that TV back real quick. Because I suspect that if you're watching this as the owner, then this is probably where you're going to be sitting right here, basically, at this theater seat, directly across from the bunion burner, which is exactly what it's probably going to be if you... Oh, actually, let's talk about this. Some people say, oh, dude, no way. I'm afraid that it could, set something on fire if I recline that sofa that close to the electric space heat and fireplace. So let's talk about that. First of all, no, they don't put out that kind of heat. Secondly, this is a Furrion fireplace. One of the extra cool things on a Furrion, they always do a little bit more than most other brands. It has a proximity sensor on it. So if something is too close to it, if it's directly in front of it, the light effect might still go, but it will stop pumping out heat. So let's say you accidentally left that on and the slide was closed and you had it plugged in or something like that. Someone's thinking, oh my gosh, this could be melting the side of my slide out. It will stop producing heat. You're not going to end up with a big melted slide wall. You're not going to end up with a fire causing a total loss or all kinds of other casualties, be they personal or property. So jumping back over to the entry door here, show you a couple things. They're not using like big fancy, you have to Bluetooth to your command center kind of systems here. Everything is just on a physical switch still, which it's located right by the door. That's where your slides are. It makes sense. It just makes sense. It's simple. It's easy. It works. You don't feel like you have a technological hiccup or break point, anything like that. Little thing, kind of like almost a little screen door growing up. You do have a little latch lock on here, which naturally I locked. I was playing with it. I locked myself into the RV. Now later we're going to see the ramp stable steps in action. However, the Three Seasons patio wall that we're looking at right here, it did not want to stay open, which made it problematic. So I repurposed that handle to kind of, keep the door in check. Now we are right up next to the corner of the property. And inevitably, when someone sees me recording, they love to just kind of honk the horn and try to disrupt things best they can. Maybe they're just saying hi. I don't think so. Neither here nor there. If you hear a little background noise, my apologies. But this also kind of brings to light the fact these rear patios are just awesome for just coming out here and expanding your space to just its total maximum capacity. Remember, this is a 13-foot garage. So from the very start of the bottom of this dovetail, all the way up to that forward wall where your washer-dryer hookups are located, that is going to be about 13 feet. And the weather must be warming up because I'm getting swarmed by gnats over here all of a sudden. Up top, you see that little yellow ripcord. That's because this has the, ate a bug. Okay, all right, there it is. Delicious, high in protein, right? Ugh, I'm gonna go brush my teeth after this and chew a whole pack of Trident gum. Dirty mouth, clean it up with Orbits or whatever. Anyway. That thing right there, that is a manual release for the MORride 0G ramp patio system. One of the other things that it has, almost like the hatchback of a car, it has a key that you can use to unlock it basically from the ground level, which is, I don't know, it's kind of wild, it's kind of cool. Now, a couple other things. You see the giant windows giving this thing nice, big, open feeling space. I suspect you folks understand that what we're looking at here is a pair of benches with a queen bed above. Give me a minute and I will drop that down. First though, you're getting a nice little reflection of me in that, garage door. Over here, this is a bath and a half model. It does so in a way though, because it's already so large, they had to try to be really careful with the length on this. And then what we are actually looking at here is a collapsible half bath effectively. Also notice in the garage you have a drop down television. It's kind of there when you need it, gone when you don't, but that allows it to be out of the way when you're loading big time stuff. And like I said, we've got ourselves a set of power sofas. I think I just ate another bug. Good Lord. This was going great until this part. Good morning to everybody but these flippin' bugs. Blech. And like I said, I don't care that you don't have hide beds in the living room, because I got sleeping for like 4 adults back here, because these things are not small. Frankly, I don't know exactly. I should check the measurements on these. We always kind of call them queen beds in the RV business, but the RV business has a way of exaggerating bed names that is just, it's unfounded anywhere else in the industry. But if you're really looking at this, you're like, whoa, what is going on? Are there 2 ladders over there? And why, yes, people who didn't ask, there are 2 ladders, but why? The long one, remember, this thing has a loft. That is the extra tall ladder to get you to the loft. The short one is just to get you to this top bed. But how cool is it that they are actually still giving you both ladders? Do you know how uncommon that is? A lot of brands will only give you one ladder and say, yeah, it's a little long, but it'll work. And I think most people watching this understand, if you want to, you can leave that power bed all the way up against the ceiling. It just takes a lot of extra time for me to like run and reset all this stuff. And I can either show every individual little thing like that, or I can describe some time-consuming small things quickly and be able to get you more videos. So let me know which one you would like. Now, down below, of course, you've got the pair of bench seats and the big free floating table in there. But I love just a simple like ironing board style leg. So if you want to take it out on the patio, you want to use it down on the ground, take it anywhere you want. Well, then don't. Also makes it a lot easier to be able to pass, in and out of the garage space, especially, when the bed's not in the way to clothesline you like the Macho Man Randy Savage. And actually, you know what? As long as I'm standing here, I want to give you a toy hauler shopping tip. If you're comparing all these different brands and you're trying to figure like how well are these things actually built, how much attention and detail do they pay, here's an area you can look. And this is not something you're ever going to find in some like how to shop for an RV guide. This is something I've learned after about 13 years of doing this. And this isn't the only thing that determines, this equation. It's an indicator. It's a place I've learned to look. And I always like to look where the manufacturers don't expect an average consumer to look. One of the things I like to do, anytime you have something like this, like a Happy Jack bed system, get your fingers in here and pick up the mattress. Feel it. How dense is it? How thick is it? Is there any substance here? This is a good indicator of how much money they're willing to spend on everything else. Also, lift it up and get it out of the way. And, take the mattress off the overhead bed if you need to. Look down in here. Because there's, a couple wood panels. How nice is the fit and finish where they're not expecting you to look at all? This is actually some of the best that I've seen in a long time. I'll flat tell you. There are some that just don't do as good of a job as another. And I don't know. Maybe I just got lucky and spotted a good one today. Maybe not. Maybe that's a good indication of what they're doing here. There's also things I'm looking at here, like their little half bath door. I thought I was going to rip it off the wall. It has like an industrial strength magnet holding this thing in place right there. The quality of materials, the hand feel, it tells you a lot, guys. Trust your instincts. If you're not getting a good feel about something, there's probably a reason for it. And as long as we are handing out pro tips, I'd like to share one that I learned from my friend Andy Dufresne when he was incarcerated in Shawshank Prison. You can lift up these handy little drink holders right here, and there's a great place to keep your contraband from the warden. And a big special thanks to today's special guest, Mr. Forgan Meeman, for jumping in and sharing us that little pro tip. If you ever find yourself incarcerated in Shawshank Prison, well, that might be beneficial to you. You never know what you're going to learn with Josh the RV Nerd. Mentioned the whole, physical switch panel thing right here, generator controls and all that. The big rain censoring max air vent fan that we saw over the kitchen, controls for that over here. I also like that you just have a easy reach, dedicated hallway light switch over here. Now, with this being wide body, they had room for a big shower and a dual entry bed and bath. But I'm going to actually kind of begin this by saying something I really don't like. I do not like these open storage compartments, like this in the bathrooms that so many RVs have started adopting. Now, that being said, short of that, this bathroom to me is right on point. It does have good storage capacity. I would just maybe put up some little netting to help keep stuff in there. Great headroom in the upper deck if you're 6 foot plus like I am. And you may have noticed how this is a one-piece seamless shower. Little corner seat there in case you need to, sit for bathing safety or, legs shaving or something like that. Porcelain foot flush stool. Give you a look at the leg room around that. I didn't think that was too awful bad myself. Using the old throne there as a reference point, I like the space for a little wastebasket under the sink. Triple drawers to the floors over there. Now, that is a taller vessel sink, but I think there's still solid counter space beside that remains pretty functional. I like the double medicine cabinet, but again, we're looking at another of these high-level fifth wheels that is sticking with the 4-inch fart fan. We're using the bigger fan in the kitchen and the living room. 100% of, it's like Family Feud. 100 people surveyed, number one answer on the board is, give us the Max Air fans, come on! And if I'm wrong about that, let me know. I don't believe I'm going to have a whole lot of pushback on that one, though. Now, we're sliding back into the bedroom here. You see, obviously, a sliding privacy door. Household outlets right there beside the bed. In the bed slide itself, you actually have dimmer lighting with a switch right in the bed slide, which is nice. You might notice how the lights above the bed very low right now as compared to, say, like the illumination from the main cabin lighting that we're looking at. That is the third of our 15,000 BTU air conditioners. Again, a total 45,000 BTU air system on this. Got a king bed over here in the slide, giving you a nice wide space right there. And at a glance, the nose cap, the closet looks shallow, but remember, that's because the washer-dryer prep is downstairs, so they didn't have to make that any deeper than a coat hanger, basically. Now, as long as we're looking at storage, let me get everything opened up, including the full big storage under the bed right here. Now, something I didn't showcase in the living room is the fact that this does include, not just in the garage, but a second free-floating Dinofa table. So those 3, theater seats that we looked at, somebody might look at this floor plan and go, wait a minute, where's the dining? And you could certainly consider kind of maybe the garage space as a bit of a dining room, but also at the same time, depending on the weather, I don't know that that's like the most favoritist option that everybody necessarily has. So, when you're sitting directly across from that big entertainment center, you can pull out the table, you can munch inside. But also, look at all the you can actually stand up in here and get dressed. This is nice. I like that big window over there too. Insignia TV straight across from the bed headboard area right here. Folks, this is not too bad. Now for road mode, really the slide that's in question here is the big sofa and kitchen super slide on the door side. I obviously don't have this other slide closed. If it was closed, you could still sneak through here. I don't know that that's going to do you a terrible amount of good though, because as you notice, these sofas get all up in each other's business right here. This actually gave me a better way to kind of showcase that. Now, theoretically, if you had long legs like mine, you could step over all of that and weave your way back into the kitchen space. And actually, why don't I see if I can, if you got long legs like mine, I suppose this isn't bad. And this, the way this slide is structured, basically, it's not going to hurt it if you do, walk your way in here like this. You notice, though, it's awful darn tight between the kitchen counter and the back slide there because you do have that garage door. You could maybe do the Dukes of Hazzard yeehaw across that stovetop and gouge yourself up to get back here. So, if you absolutely had to get in here to get to the fridge or something, if your life depended on it, you could. It's just not the most convenient. But I'm going to show stuff for you, whether it's convenient or not. And if you appreciate that, hit that subscribe button. Let's hop outside. I'll tell you what, I like the curb appeal of these things. That nose, that big old chrome-looking V on the front, that looks good to me. Fun little science fact. There's all kinds of different human cultures, and different cultures find different things attractive, right? The one thing that every single human culture finds attractive is symmetry. So I think having the big V down the nose and the symmetry nose, I think that's a beneficial thing. To me, it's very attractive. I think it looks very, very good. It looks bad, in the good way of saying bad. It's bad, but it's good. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Now, you got to be able to ride and handle this thing, so thankfully we do have the shock dampening pin box and suspension combination. A lot of big fifth wheel toy haulers like this have that, but I want to make sure you know that this also does. You've got the 5500 Awning generator up front here, being able to power the entire RV anywhere you're at, anytime you want it. Very handy thing. Now the battery box looks like a mess because there's no batteries in it. The wires are just kind of hanging out because I had my battery box hooked up to it. But that is actually sized. If you want to put a pair of big batteries in there, there's room. And frankly, I suspect that if you rearrange this a little bit, you might be able to get another one. By the way, sometimes people see this stuff and they think it's like a wasp nest. That is, expanding spray foam that prevents critters from being able to get in and out. Especially important here because where this thing exhausts down below, you don't want a mouse climbing in and getting into your house. By the way, battery disconnect switch kind of tucked away back there behind the batteries. Now, I'm going to list a couple things off that I think are very big, important features, but they're also very common in this class. Like the 6-point hydraulic auto leveling, the hot-cold camp package, the 12-volt tank heaters standard on these. They're thermostatic, by the way, so you can set it and forget it. This has all of that. But I want to talk about a couple things I think are a little more interesting. By the way, handy little solar prep plug right here in case you want a portable panel, like if you got this big beast parked in the shade and you're just doing some, light duty 12-volt stuff like lights and fans. You don't want to go chugging the generator all day. Well, that helps right there. Now down here in the pass-through, you see the TV hookups over here on the left side. If I'm gonna be a little critical, I wish there would have been like a little exterior access port right here to be able to run TV cables outside, because as it stands, you have to leave the baggage door open, and as it stands, it does not keep itself open organically. So, I don't want it slamming closed on your cables or something like that. Now this is inverter prepped over here, as you see. It seems to be less of a deal on a lot of fifth wheel toy haulers, often I think because of the inclusion of the factory generator. Over here, one of the, you see this big scraggle of cables. Well, what are those things doing? Well, these are deck support cables, but the thing is, as you're going to see, this RV doesn't necessarily even need to use those, which is frankly kind of nice. We're going to get into that deck in a little bit more detail in a few minutes. Fully enclosed, privatized docking center over here. The things that you expect, like protected heated gate valves, all the big things you expect for a like a weather-rated fifth wheel like this, it has all of those. Like I said, forced air heated enclosed underbelly. There is also radiant barrier layering going through the underbelly, although I can barely speak. And I'm also realizing only now that I decided to crouch down directly in front of the exhaust pipe, which obviously kind of blocks our field of view. I'm just that good, guys. If only there was something here that could have given me a hint as to the presence of the exhaust pipe in our faces. But enough about my idiocy. This is one of their larger models. It has, because of the size and the weight, it is running on triple axles. You see that Moride CRE 3000 suspension shackle system in between those. Moride seems to do a little bit better on triaxles for stability and load equalization, though I've seen some other things certainly be successful. Over here, you have 60 gallons of onboard fuel capacity. You've got the generator, by the way, is gas powered. That's why we have two inlets here. They're both 30-gallon vessels. So your fuel station, your generator, both have their own separated 30-gallon cell. They intentionally do not cross over in case you want to run like a higher octane fuel for some kind of big fancy side-by-side or thing like that, that you have loaded in the back of this. And man, with that sunshine coming out, it was a gray morning. This is starting to turn out to be a beautiful day. I am happy to be here. Although I'm also walking right next to the road, so pardon me as I get a little bit closer to the RV so I don't get squished. Now, if you want to use all 60 gallons just for the generator, you can always use your fuel station to pump over to the generator. Handy little pro tip there. We're going to get up to the roof of that side mount ladder in just a minute there. You got the Thule awning that comes over the back of our patio party deck. But it's what you're not seeing that I want to talk about. Remember those big support cables that were sitting in the front pass-through? You notice how they're not on the back of this? That's because this thing has that handy 0G ramp door. Like you've seen on, again, Fusions, Raptors, some other things like that. But the door can hold itself up. So lifting it and lowering it, very, very simple. But it also has its own set of supportive drop legs down here. And I tell you what, today, they're really doing a heck of a job for me because this is not even terrain. I will point out, I do not technically have that leg fully secured at the top. So please don't do what I've done here. For the purposes of these videos, especially since it's supposed to rain in a few minutes, I do sometimes need to do a quick setup and then get moving fast so that I'm racing Mother Nature, But this thing is long, it is strong, it is down to get the camping on. You don't want, I think, the steps coming off the back side of this thing, because then you're extending your sight even further. So the fact that you effectively have a triple entry over here on the campsite, I think is a smarter application. That's just my 2 cents, though. Obviously, you've seen where we have that 3 Seasons door in the back here. That becomes far more common on the bigger, fancier, higher dollar toy haulers because it's a bigger, fancier, higher dollar thing. Now, up front, you may have noticed how there was an awning way over that big door side slide. And a lot of people aren't super jazzed about that. Thankfully, it does have a second awning back here dedicated just to the patio space. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to climb that ladder and I'm going to get high on this trailer. Yeah, well, RVs might have the meats, but we got the RVs. Actually, it is kind of funny how just a year ago, this was just a barren, open dirt landscape, and now it's, folks, we're packed and we're back, baby. You don't have to order from a catalog. We got stuff you can actually try on, like, for size like a pair of pants. So I'm standing next to the rear air conditioner. Again, we have 2 others up front here for max cooling capacity on this big bad boy. And they can run simultaneously. It doesn't like power swap 2 airs and then juggle 2. That was a thing that used to, be true in the past. And up front here, overall, or up top rather, it looks rather plain and barren. What I want to showcase for you though, is that this does come from the factory, both inverter prepped as well as roof solar prepped. So if you want to build yourself a big monster package, like my friend Mr. Chris Reed from Why Not RV, he's got a Montana that actually came from this location where he custom crafted a 5,000 watt solar solution. And there's enough room up here. I think you could actually eclipse that if you were that invested. So, what do you think about her? Let me know how she stacks up against some other things you've seen. Like, how does it compare in your mind to, say, something like a Fusion, a Raptor, a Momentum, some of the bigger XLR models, anything else that you might have seen out there? Where did they nail it? Where did they fail it? Where are they killing it? Where could they get better? That's the kind of stuff I love to hear from you guys. How does it fit you? How would you use it? Would you tow and go it? Would you leave it parked? I don't know. This is very different from how I would camp. So the information you give me, frankly, I think you people learn less from me than I learn from you. And I truly mean that. And I thank you for all the input you've offered over the years. Check the link in the video description if you'd like to see where we have one of these parked and what we're asking at any given point, because those things can vary based on build date, equipment, shipping distance, all kinds of stuff. But that'll always, you're one click away. You don't have to call to get current pricing, provided we have one in stock. And if we don't, then yeah, one of the fellows has to let you know what something's running. Or ladies, as it were. We have quite a few lady outfitters here at Bish's RV. But when you're ready, we're ready. So until then, take care, stay safe, have fun, and until next time, everyone.